He's sleeping. You see him?
Buggy!
Put him on the show. I'll quit. You can cut me that check. Like, wow, that's a big deal. And geez, promise you, I'm locked in.
That's her job to do that. She's not supposed to be interrupting or whatever. She's supposed to be
You told me that's my job too now.
No, talks over your fucking donations. Stop it. This is why I say that you're...
Wow, Boogie and Keem are going at it, huh? Jesus. Oh, let me get rid of the goals on here. I don't have goals for today. I should. I just didn't think of any. The goal, as always, is $500 for the stream. Hitting that not only allows me... Here, 2 seconds. Hitting the goal for the streams allows me not only to keep the entire network alive, but to do it at a proper pace, a slower pace, where I can actually hire and bring on the correct people so we don't have to deal with any more issues like the Roxys, the Savages, the Vixies. So... that's the goal for tonight is $500. I'm sure there's something I could do for it. I just haven't thought of it yet. Maybe you guys will have suggestions. And I'm not doing everything for every donation just because I don't want to interrupt the reaction too much.
Not locked in. You're not paying attention to chat. You're not paying attention when you get a fucking donation. You're not paying attention to anything at all.
Oh, am I talking over Dono?
Some people are pissing.
Is driving publicly and showing everyone he's on his way to get fast food.
Oh my God.
www.
How far in does this start? Jeez. Don't bring on anyone from the LCU. Oh, absolutely. Never. Never. Charlie is asking, is Knight Rider going to come on today? Originally, I had it planned for him to come on, and he's still on standby. If we have time, we'll talk about the situation with Knight Rider. But because of how...
This was essentially a 6-hour stream. I don't know why she decided to do a 6-hour stream. Probably trying to milk as much as she can, knowing that she's not been able to hit her goals, or just barely been able to hit her goals. Like, you know, I get the grind, I get the whole thing, but it's like, you gotta probably cut down that 500 to 600. Right? Like, you're not gonna make... I'm not saying she doesn't have people that won't support her, but eventually, like... is that 500 even worth it? Because at that point, she's not even like cutting it with Roxy. That 500 is for herself at this point. And is it really going to the network? Like, well, if it is, why don't you get Dick jumping on a new mic? It's this point you're just trying to keep as much money as possible before it starts to dip more and more. So yeah, we're back at it with Becky Booby. And did she bring OS Knight Rider? Yeah, within like the first 30 minutes she brings him in. Yes. And they kind of go through about the situation between Knight Rider and obviously people at Cafe. And whether or not, obviously I think most people are going to take Cafe side, probably even I myself. But it's just like, I don't know. I feel like at this point her show it's just a slap. You know what I mean? There's nowhere it can really go at this point. Anywhere else, right? I just don't think it could go anywhere. Like, she lost most of her core supporters. I mean, like, I know I think it was Suffer Horse was there in the chat, but he didn't donate one bit. And I think it took her, all night for her to hit her goal. Or barely even hit her goal, you know. Which is, at this point, to say a lot about, like, where the current state of Becky is. Like, do I personally, you know, people say, oh, do you feel bad for her? And I'm like, well, not really. She made her own bed. Right? She made her own bed. She made her own bed at this point, and there's not really much I can do, right? There's just nothing that I can do. You made your own bed, you're not willing to, like, take it at this point. You know, suffer. So that's how I see it, at least. If you made your own bed, there's nothing anybody else can do. And you just kind of have to take the L, but let's move on.
And if that's the case, Keem, I can play dirty too, literally. But the thing is, Keem, you gotta be careful, bro, because you ain't gonna win against me no matter what you try to do. I mean, you're already trying to smear my name. But the thing is, Keem, I have an audience, right, of about what 559 subscribers now. But even though my audience doesn't compare in size to yours, Keem, I built my YouTube channel on my own. I started off as a lone wolf. I started playing Sunset Overdrive and other games. Yeah, fair enough, I'll call the odd drama now and again, but Keemstar, the only time you knew about me was, what was it now? Let me refresh your memory, Keemstar. It was a Keemstar show, the Christmas special. Members only. I made an appearance on that show. You brought me on. I wished you Merry Christmas to you and Brantley, and you also wished me a Merry Christmas. But what did Brantley say? She asked me, who am I kissing on the New Year? I didn't say anything because I knew exactly what you would do. And then you said something about, you got a sister, why don't you just kiss your sister? I'm thinking, I didn't take offence to it at the time, but I knew it was a joke. But then, coming to locale Queens, when I actually made my first appearance on Queens, I mean, yeah, you came in. I know.
Okay. I can kind of see where Batgirl's coming from now. Not trying to be offensive, but you know, the issue is, dude, is like kind of saying that, kind of making a threat or a declaration like that. I mean, look what happened to the people who went up against Keem and they got completely shut down, right? Grace, Lynx. I think if you're gonna pick a fight with a bigger creator, you have to understand how they play. Not a question of them playing dirty. It's playing dirty within the rules, the confine of YouTube. I've seen it. I've seen a number of times where YouTubers play dirty only for them to get smacked down extremely hard. I think a good example is Monday Mad, where Monday Mad plays so dirty, right? He would do copyright strikes, I believe, DMCA strikes, and different things like that. And when it was found out that it was him the whole time, he got completely decimated for a while. And I think to the point where he just became completely irrelevant, right? And that was a smaller content creator compared to Keemstar at that time. I'm just trying to be nice when I say don't pick a fight that you can't win. Because if you pick a fight that you can't win, you only have yourself to blame. And given how the LCU audience is, when you combine all of them together, it's not worth fighting them. Trust me, it really isn't worth fighting them at all. You know, in reality, it's not worth fighting any content creators' audience who are bigger than you. It's just not, you know, unless they're like a local audience, go ahead, but
So anyway, if I said that, I misspoke. But what he was doing, let me speak very clearly without trying to go into all the details because they're disgusting and nobody needs to hear them. He almost killed me. Almost killed me. Like literally, I went through that near death thing of where I don't want to go into details, it'll make me cry. I'm not going to cry. I went through the entire process of feeling myself leave my body, of completely dissociating, and even while my throat was literally being crushed, I remember thinking, it's so weird that I don't feel pain. Did you guys know that's a thing? When people die, your body releases a bunch of hormone chemicals or whatever so that you don't feel so much pain. I went through that and I remember thinking, wow, because by the way, I was drugged and not able to move or fight back in any way. So I was just sitting there as I'm being strangled and unable to breathe, thinking, wow, thinking as my throat's being crushed, wow, it's amazing that I don't feel more pain with this. I almost fucking died. So if I said he tried to murder me, that's what I meant, to clarify that statement. Since people want to be so fucking nosy. There you go. And by the way, Keem, this whole agreement that we had would have never had to be broken if you didn't push me into a fucking corner. But once you started mentioning Richie's name and you started going into it, I guess now we're going into it. So here we are.
About this Becky shit.
Now, in my honest opinion, I don't believe anything that Becky is saying. Right? I don't believe anything she's saying due to, you know, a person like her would have filed a police report. A person like her would have, right? If you know anything about a certain individual, they don't hesitate to get the police involved in an instant. Now, there are certain cases where obviously the abuser doesn't bring in the police, but a lot of those instances, the abusee generally leave. Right? They generally leave. Now, now, what makes me kind of mad is, and I'm not trying to get my personal feelings involved, but I think it's already too late. As somebody who knows a bunch of females who have been abused, those who are very close to me, like friends, and at least like one or two, or like, I would say like one of them was like a romantic partner in the past. I would say at least it gets on my nerve. Because I don't really believe her, but that's just an opinion. You know, I don't believe her. There's a gut feeling in my head, right? Not gut feeling in my head, a gut feeling in my stomach. The sensors in my brain are telling me to not believe her, because as somebody who's around a lot of those victims, right? You know, there's usually a lot more to it. And you can look back at a lot of the old Becky stuff, and clearly there's no real sign. Right? And I mean, like, the whole agreement is like, okay, well, it's because you kept smearing his name, and then you had to come in and stop it. But you didn't, and you keep bringing it up more and more and more, even now. And all I'm thinking is, this is going to turn into a full-on, like, civil court issue. Because the court, it's going to ask, okay, why wasn't there a report feeling? Why wasn't there any type of medical examination, right? As, you know, how am I gonna say this? You can go to a doctor and get certain examination based on certain abuse, right? Those are real thing. And again, as somebody who's been around, right? As somebody who's been around a bunch of females who have been abused, they always file a report. The ones that usually don't end up either, you know, kicking the bucket or completely leaving, and eventually they do report they usually do file a report anyway. So to me, it's like, you know, I feel like you're just trying to get sympathy point, where clearly I think you're lying. But you know what, as Keemstar said, and you know what, knowing, you know, with my better judgment, the way I think now, I wasn't there. That's a fair point. I wasn't there, but we know Keemstar doesn't believe anything Becky is saying. We know the whole LCU does not believe in Becky. Even ex-members of the LCU don't even believe her, right? You can even go up to Links and Grace, they can even tell you that, right? To me, it's like, it's just disheartening. It just is. It's very disgusting even.
Health. As I was bleeding out and had to shutter my business for a while to deal with it, as I was bleeding out, then he's like, oh, I want to help you. Okay. Wow. Stupid. What planet do you think people are from? Do you think everyone's as stupid as you? Probably because he works with a lot of mentally disabled people, not to call them stupid, but to get the point I'm making. He always works with people who he could take advantage of, and the people who let him get away with saying shit like this.
Meant it.
Oops.
I told you that privately. I meant it. All right. I don't want to see you hurt. I don't. It's not true. But if you act silly, I'm gonna use it for content. This is what
True.
You know, I'm going to.
And you said that you would consider like working with her again if she got her shit together. Does that not sound like somebody who wants somebody to better themselves and like not be on a downward fucking spiral like she is?
No, that sounds like a spider where the fly escaped the web and the spider's trying to get the fly back. That's what it sounds like.
Only way that she's gonna get that channel going again, right, is she's gonna have to take accountability. She's going to have to acknowledge that we didn't laugh about the dead uncle. She's going to have to acknowledge that she was shitty and did all these things, convinced Roxy to quit. And like, she's going to acknowledge bad things she's done. She's going to have to tell her audience, yes, I sold you out. I told you I would never go work for the LCU, but I did. And I'm sorry for that. Like, you're going to have to take accountability. Once you do that, then people will give you a second chance. The audience.
For what it's worth, I don't need a second chance. I never did anything wrong to need one in the first place. That's just a narrative he's spinning. For what it's worth, this is a very small footnote in all this, but as far as the saying I convinced Roxy to quit, once again, not true. When she said
Oh, you know, you heard her. She didn't do anything wrong. She doesn't need a second chance. You know what, at that point, it's just a low-count mentality. It's just a pure low count mentality at this point. And yeah, this whole stream is just what's this. Took her 6 hours to get through all of this, which really shouldn't take her that long, right? Especially if you're playing at like what 1.2 speed, 1.5 speed. At some point, as I was watching this, I was just like, can you just get to the damn point? Like, it's just hurry up. You've been streaming for 6 hours. You're not gonna hit your goal anytime soon. You may hit it through like ad revenue, but besides that, you're not gonna really hit it. You know what I mean? It's just God, it's just annoying. I mean, if there's any proof that she doesn't feel remorse, there you go, right? She doesn't really care. She doesn't need a second chance. She did nothing wrong. It's like, okay, just remember that was your choice. Then why were you begging to get all your followers back? Why were you begging to get all the people that support you with big money? And that's what I mean. It's like, you know, it's pretty bad. It's quite laughable. From what I can see from Playboy, it looked like she made her goal, but I'm not sure how true that is, given, again, she went for 6 hours, so, you know, it could say she made her goal, but who knows, right? Stuff like that is up in the air with accuracy. But yes, so this is really most of her stream was like. It was just her saying, I did nothing wrong, you know, the whole essay stuff. Well, you guys, you don't even understand. It's like, come on, Becky. At this point, it's just pretty sad, but not really much we can do. It actually is pretty sad to even cover this. Till next time, guys. God bless.